That's solar. That's solar. Oh, that's Dave, President Dave. She is named President Dave after the movie Dave with Kevin Kline, where he looks like the president. He acts as a side hustle as a presidential impersonator, and then is called upon to be the president when the current president is incapacitated, and hilarity ensues. And he shows that there's a president inside all of us. And so that's Dave's secret power is to be presidential. We all are President Dave. We all have the president inside of us. And then there's Solar the spokes dog there in the tartan plaid on her back. She speaks for all plants and animals worldwide, including humans. Her message, you know the message. You're trashing the earth. Oh, Solar. Whoa. You could do everything. You can go and visit her on her site, change.org/solar Solar versus everybody at change.org. And if you do give money, we appreciate it, but please make it anonymous if you make a donation. It's not required, but we appreciate it if you do. But please, we are indebted to no one, but of service to all. So, back to service to all, which is supposedly what your public servants are supposed to be. The most noble calling in ancient Rome was public service, service to the state. You were a young patrician, you'd walk into a room in your home, and there would be busts all over the room with your ancestors and your forefathers and their achievements, their glories in battle and to the state. And you had to live up to that. That is what public service is. President Obama graduated, Columbia and Harvard. He had nothing. He had no money. That's all he wanted to do was public service. He got the first job on the south side of Chicago at the research library, the New York Public Library, in the research room, answering an ad. That's service to the state. And then I read his memoirs, even years later when he was a legislator down in Springfield, Illinois for the state. There was a crisis at one time, and he didn't know if he was going to, he didn't have any money. His credit card was maxed out. He was like, is this worth it? I'm gone half the time with two young daughters at home and, don't have a dime working for the state here. And so he did have a crisis of consciousness a bit. And they do that here in Connecticut. They only pay them $40,000 a year. I propose we pay $120,000 to keep legislations in line. But what we're really talking about is the housing and the homes. We have to make that one word change is homes for starters, because so much misinformation is going out there and it's just really bad and it's getting pushed through. And we have to stop it immediately. The industry is just dominated by a couple of concerns, and they're rewriting law, and it's so obscene that we're going to publish it and talk about it today. The CT 169 published a spreadsheet. It was fantastic with like over 50 bills, just the ones that were bad, not even the ones that were half decent regarding this commercial development. That's what it is. They call it housing, but it's just a premise, and they know it's a premise, and they know it doesn't work, and they won't talk about it, which makes it invalid. You can't just turn your blind eye to the fact that, first of all, the people that rent live lesser quality of lives, and we have our own solutions for homes. Am I running that? Was I running that up there? Anyway. So this obscenity of what's going on now, they're passing these right of way bills to allow developers to just build without even having to go back with showing the plans or anything, like pre-approved stuff around this faulty notion of transit-oriented districts. Transit means to move. Okay, it doesn't mean you build apartment buildings. They won't even recognize that times have changed. We don't have a state. There's no need to live by the train station. People don't commute into New York the way it was. The work is from home or it's dispersed. It's different now. You don't build up around the train station, but that's just their premise. It's not even a train station around Black Rock. It's a platform. And putting in one-bedroom apartments and like for what, $830G? It's like that's just, it doesn't work. It's bogus. And it's renting, and it's bad for the occupants, and we can say no to it because it's bad for the health and safety of our occupants in our town lines. But we'll get into more on that in a second, later when we talk about Fairfield. But what the state is doing and hammering through all these crazy legislations where they can build in town after town after town without even asking. It's like, are you insane? We're doing the opposite. We're rolling back, making it easier. Looking at the code, 2.5 story code, historic district designation for Route 1 and other roads on both sides of Route 1, downtown and Tungus, embrace of ecology, embrace of the environment, embrace of architectural standards worldwide with like the REs, R-E, renew, reduce, reinvest, reuse, recycle. That's where the world is going now. So, and we can embrace that and use that. That's what we want to do. And that's what we're going to show them we're going to do. We're not going to do this crazy stuff that they're proposing. We're just not. And we're not going to do the House of Cards with the Senate Majority Leader. I look at it like the Suicide King, the one that King of Hearts is putting his sword through his head. This is like the political Suicide King with the House of Cards. And it's going to bring down the political careers of everybody in it. And maybe that's for the better. Because I think that a lot of them have forgotten why they're in public service to begin with. And we want full-time public servants, not part-time career politicians. I think a lot of times they got to get back to what the Constitution is all about. And did you know that a portion of our Constitution we copied verbatim from Mississippi? It's true. About gun control and the right to bear arms. As you know, very interesting. Maybe we should change our name. And Mississippi is updating their Constitution, and we should join them. We had the founding fathers. Now we got the matriarchal mothers. The Mississippi Miracle. They're high in the country in home ownership. Why is that? It's because you can change it and make affordable homes. You live in the family home for year after year and generation after generation instead of saddled with a mortgage and part of the housing market craziness. Guaranteed homes. That's number one. Guaranteed affordable home. Well, it changes everything because that's the piece of the American dream, and that's what the right of the American dream is. And they have no right to take that American dream away from people because you're taking the American dream away from people by doing that. And we're not going to let them do that. We're going to let them get back to why they were in public service and have redemption. All right? We're going to read the Constitution. We're going to read the Declaration of Independence. We're going to read Connecticut state documents. We're going to read the history of it and see where we are and look at the laws and the amendments. And then look at what they're doing and what's really right and the rights of the people and why they should be doing that. And no more of these crazy talk about these buildings. All right, let's see if there's an article to read. We talk about the budget. The budget, the big three categories are personal. Is that supposed to be personnel? Other, and then fringe benefits. It's so out of whack that we insist on our pros, our people, look at that and fixing it and have transparency. This is the big thing with Google. It's transparency. Times have changed, but they haven't. We're going to look at the budget and really look at that crazy, crazy, crazy budget. All right, let's that can be the end of that. I'm dying to get into the other stuff. We got the letter to the governor. I was going to read that, right? Did I bring my glasses at least? No. No, no. Shoot. Oh, maybe I do. What's up, girls? I'm supposed to be playing 77 now, too. All right, let me see what I got here. There's my letter to the governor. Oh, here it is. I found an article. A podcast that I wrote. It's called, check this out. A few public servants need to reread their job descriptions. That was a podcast I did a month ago. Uh-oh, did things freeze up here? I don't know why my picture's frozen, but anyway. As long as I'm still recording. Listen. It says, we need to send our public servants the Connecticut Charter, Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. These are their job descriptions. This is what they're supposed to be protecting. The rights of man, not the rights of way for builders or whatever they call it now. The right of way. That's an insult to the word right. For the thousands of millions who have died protecting the rights of man, a revolution was fought, multiple revolutions for the rights of man. So you betray your job description and your oath to serve and protect us for the benefit of a handful of others who are in it for themselves. You just need to look in the mirror and you need to read those documents and remember why you got it in the first place. Service to the state is a noble calling, the most noble according to the ancient Romans, and to the 99.9% of civil servants, public servants, elected officials, everybody that works to make our lives better in any capacity, healthcare workers, people on the street, in communities dedicated to helping people live better lives. That is what you are there for. Let's just read these documents and we'll start reading the other ones that we're going to see if we can get back on the path. The way it is now, it's just not sustainable at all. The construction industry is running the state. It's downright abuse of the system. Okay. The construction industry is running the state. Oh, look at that. I can get a seat over here. Oh, no visitors. Nobody interested in my live stream. Aren't you girls cute? All right. All right. Hi, sweetheart. The construction industry is running the state. It's downright abuse of the system. We're abused by the system down here in Fairfield and in Bridgeport and the country, and we're an example of what's going on. It's dominated overwhelmingly by the building and construction industry, which is huge, but really just a handful of companies working in consort, of course, with other minions. You know what? I should not be doing this. We should be looking at the budget just to get it out there because I brought it up. Let's scroll through right quick. We'll just scroll through the article, okay? Whoa. This is going to work. Yeah, look at that. Construction industry is running the state. Everybody knows what's going on. See, the state knows because it starts Bridgeport. And I've documented many times how the state is aware of all that's going on in the Ganim administration, the mistakes, his election filings, and with the numbers. But there's no penalties for the work. It's a slap on the wrist for the investigations, which are open for years, and on and on. And the state knows that, and the feds know that. So why does it continue? It's always a part of a bigger investigation forever. I'm talking 20 years through the federal and the global level. That's the reason. It's beyond the state. It's the feds, and it's a bigger part of the feds. So, and it's true that the state is aware, and the Democratic is aware. They're fully aware, the Democratic Party. You have to remember, it's about control. Bridgeport is 100% Democratic on the town council and the mayor, and they have a 2-to-1 supermajority in the state, and they want to keep that. And they can override vetoes with the supermajority. Anything they want to do, they can do. And the Republicans and the governor are helpless to stop them. That's the scenario we're in now. And they're ruthless in maintaining it. And Bridgeport is a huge part of it. So they keep Bridgeport alive through the construction and the building industry. You know. You know. You know, it's an example. They maintain the power by keeping things offline. But times have changed. You can't uninvent Google. And we now demand total transparency. So the way things worked in 1975, it's not 1975 anymore, it's 2025. But they keep things offline, and they prop up Bridgeport with that, with the mayoral race with Ganim. And so when the people get arrested and they say that the state knows about it, they're right. And the various agencies of the state and the elections department and the SEEC, who were told what to do, and they have no authority on their own. So we're going to read those articles and talk about that. They're right. They know what's going on, and they know the authorities. And the question is now, what are you going to do about it? It was always nothing. You can't do anything. They operated as like, you're not going to find out. If you do find out, you're not going to care. If you do find out, you do find out, and you care, what are you going to do about it? Well, now I do find out, I do care, and we can do something about it. And things are different. There really is for the first time in history. It doesn't have to be opaque anymore.